more than anything, I just wanted to share with you my passion for God's creation, and it really just makes me emotional just thinking about it, because ultimately, if it had not been for God's will, I would not be standing here today. I would not be a Christian. And I walked away from Christianity for a long time in my life, and the reason I came back to it is because God's creation is a living witness, a growing witness of His creativity and who He is. And I think that not many people can deny God when they, look upon His creation. And I guess that's kind of how I wandered back into Christianity, because I couldn't deny God anymore, because I was a biology student, and I love nature, and I love the environment, and I love the ocean, and my next step, once I had my degree, and I thought, well, I'm a Christian now, I'll go and spend some time working for the church. And I was doing youth work for a quite large Pentecostal church in Hamilton, and I won't mention any more names. And I thought, I'm going to find people here that are passionate about God's creation, but unfortunately I didn't. And one of the little jokes around the office was, "Oh, Kristel, if you weren't a Christian, you'd be such a hippie." And I was like, hold on, this doesn't make sense. Like, we should all be Christian hippies, and we should be leading the charge, we should be out there, proclaiming the wonder of God's creation. And if words don't do it, God's creation will. There's nothing that we need to say except take people into God's creation and let Him speak. And that led me to Rocha, and I actually used the wonderful web to find out about Rocha, because I thought, surely these people that are like me, I can't be the only one. I'm not that unique. So I found out about Rocha, and I had a real passion to go to Africa, and I had a real passion to work with people, but in the skills that I had as a biologist. And I found out about Rocha in Kenya, and I spent some time there as well as in Samoa, and just really got to live in a community, with a community of people, Christians, non-Christians, students, both locals as well as people from overseas, who really lived authentically, what they believed, and lived out the biblical mandate to care for creation. And it was just a really amazing experience. And as we worked alongside each other, towards a common goal, a passion for an earth that is continuously being destroyed, we were able to also share our stories and our love for not only God's creation but also the Creator. And that to me was what really just brought me back to New Zealand. And I thought, wow, we have Rocha organisations throughout the world. We're present in 20 countries throughout the world now, and often based around the Field Study Centre. And other times in New Zealand we have 6 different groups around the country that are involved in practical conservation initiatives, working in their communities. And it's just been a wonderful experience. We've been working in New Zealand for the last 5 years or so. And there is, generally growing awareness of environmental issues, obviously, around the world. And we're confronted, not only with just general ecological crisis, but we're also dealing with things like the earthquake in Christchurch, where we can't even control, what's happening out there. And I think it's easy to think, it's taking the focus away from people, but it's not. I think we all believe that, when we look at ecosystems, when we look at its creation as a whole, people are intricately linked with that, but we can't separate the two. And I think ultimately what I'd love to see is Christians taking on that message and integrating it into their programs, into the way we live, and being challenged by it. Because I think as we reconnect with God's creation, something really special happens. And not just that you're getting your hands dirty and you've got, wash up, but you also, it becomes an act of worship. And I think, like even small steps, and people say, oh, what can I do, and I kind of think, well, yeah, you can recycle and do all those things, and it just seems like small things to do, but I think when you start thinking deeper than that, is that the thought that goes into that, and it really just becomes an act of worship, because you're not only caring for the earth, but you're also caring for the next generation. You're caring for people, and that is what it's all about. And ultimately, it's very biblical. Like all things will be reconciled, and we are talking about all the earth. Spend some time maybe thinking about this and reading it, and a few people say, well, what can we do? And there's really neat resources available where you can integrate creation care and make creation care an act of worship in your churches. The way we do business, the way we interact with each other, caring for God's earth is all part of that. And I think the way, the things we buy, the way we live, it's just so part of who we are as Christians, and the things that we're talking about this week. When you start thinking of it as an act of worship, of honouring God and the way that we live and the way that we do things, and taking it back to basics as we, live in community with each other, and hopefully for a more sustainable future. And that I think we really want to leave something there for our children and grandchildren. And I think, one of the neatest things is that as I'm working along, different organisations, like Rocha is very focused on working in partnership, and a lot of those partnerships are with people in the community, and then organisations like DOC and that. And if you go to a Green Party conference, not that I usually go, but I happened to be there one day, which they actually held in the Bible camp at Raglan, which I thought was kind of cool. But there's just no hope there, and it's all about the destruction that's happening, but I think as Christians we have a message of hope as well, because God said all things will be reconciled. And so, I think as Christians, we, as we work alongside people who have a similar passion for the environment, we also get to share that message of hope, and that's just wonderful. I've had people come up to me and say, I'm just so stoked to see Christians that care, about the environment, because I left my church because, they just thought I was eco-nut, and how sad, and hopefully we're drawing people back in, and giving them a chance and saying, hey, Christians do care, and we do. Maybe sometimes we've forgotten about it a little bit, and I get comments like that from non-Christians as well. They say, oh, I didn't know Christians cared about the environment. And I was like, oh, of course we do, And we've got a project going in Raglan where we're doing a restoration project on the Munga there on the mountain, and we've been very privileged that we're getting an opportunity to work with the local couple. And one of the guys, he's an older guy, and he's obviously had some negative experiences. And he said, "And you, Kristel," he goes, "I can't, hassle the Christians anymore now because you care about the same things that I do." How great is that, And it's taken years, there's just lots of little stories like that, where I'm just like, our needs might not be quite as obvious sometimes in New Zealand as they are when you go to a place like Kenya, where Rocha is really looking at addressing poverty issues and degradation of the environment, through deforestation and that, and trying to find ways for people to maintain their livelihoods while not destroying the environment at the same time. And coming back to New Zealand, the needs don't seem as big here perhaps in terms of poverty, but there is still a lot of poverty, and not only financial, but it's spiritual as well. And I think when people reconnect to creation, something special happens, and just the basics come back and our priorities. And we're seeing that all throughout the country, and just encourage you. This is not like an optional extra that we have to incorporate as another program into our churches. This is something that we can integrate, and make a part of our lives. We can be authentic, and then we can provide people with the whole gospel, as the gospel of not only the restoration of, us as a people, but also of God's whole creation. And I think that's what he charged us when he gave us our first commandment, is to care for his earth and be its gardeners. So Rocha is a Christian conservation organisation. We're a part of an international body. It was started in the 80s by a missionary couple that went to Portugal and just felt a real need that they had a love for God's creation, but they wanted to connect with people that didn't know the Creator. And Rocha has a kind of 5 C's. We're Christian conservation, we're community-based, we work cooperatively, and cross, or what we call now in New Zealand, transculturally. And our ethos and mission in New Zealand is to restore ecosystems through community-based programs and research and education as well. We're a reasonably large organisation internationally, but we're very community-based, and our projects kind of differ a lot across the world, just depending on the need as we address local environmental needs. Yeah.
Can you spell it?
Yes. Okay, Rocha actually means the rock in Portuguese, so it's Rocha, which is A-R-O-C-H-A, and we have a website, www.arocha.org.
Our next speaker is Sua, and he's here to talk about the impact on the environment of his people in Tuvalu. Sua, thank you very much.
Just before I'm going to start, I'd just like to acknowledge here today the presence of my other 2 brothers, Reverend Ted Fusi from Wellington and Reverend Teofilo Ioane, also both from Tuvalu. Just to bring us into the context of the environment where we are today, I'd just like to start with this. Paul said, let not the world around us squeeze us into its mold, but let the Spirit of God remold us from within. The smallest, 10,000 people, 12 feet above the sea level, population of 10,000 people. 30% of the population already migrated to New Zealand and other parts of the world because they know that in 30 years to come, Tuvalu will be the first country to disappear from the surface of the earth. Disappear as a nation, disappear as a people. 3 very important concepts to us. Whenua is my land, my island. Tokuiloma, my identity. Tokutofu, a blessing from God. So wherever we go, wherever we move, we always carry this with us. So how can we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? We are here and we are still thinking and praying for what is going to happen to Tuvalu. My challenge for you this morning, I call for solidarity. In whatever you do in your capacity, we do it locally. And please also think of Christchurch. But luckily Christchurch can be rebuilt in 10 years to come. But for Tuvalu, it will disappear. A people, a nation, a people of God. I'd just like to finish with this small song. Hiki ko te baka, hopo ki lunga, alo ki mua. Means What we are saying here is a vision and a commitment for you and me as leaders of the church. That is our waka. Hopo kiluma. We don't need spectators in the Christian arena. We need Christians who are committed to their call, as Christ committed his life because he cares for you and me. That is the act of hopo. Get on the canoe. And finally, there is a destination for us. And we have to pedal forward. So may I challenge everyone to just stand up and follow me with the actions of this as part of our prayer and commitment. This is how we do it when I say, Hiki ko te waka, hopo kilunga, alo kimua. Okay, everybody. Hiki ko te waka, hopo kilunga, alo kimua. One more. Hiki ko te waka, hopo kilunga, alo kimua. God bless you.